Peace, peace. Gotta get it ready to get on in on the info tonight. You know what's going on. Your host, Dr. Alim El-Bey, will be presenting some good information dealing with a heavy discussion of non-locality of consciousness. But before we get to that,
you already know, man.
You already know, man.
Yo. Bohemian wizardry, you fraud them seeds be killing me. The enemy is close, he both lies on our identity. I feel like he who stepped, architect like Imhotep. Son had the sun himself, the God deadly with the art. I spit darts with a slit heart. You can feel it in your bone marrow before the shit starts. Standing in the cold with a scroll that was written in gold. Behold the old glimpse that was never untold. Infinite like the 8-7 dwelling in your melon. No felon, though the unrighteous say that I'm rebellious. I'm primal, my rhymes suicidal. I worship no idols. My style of load of gems going down in a spiral. You stuck in your root. My intelligence past my coup. The God is the truth. Every time I step in the booth, you stepped on the stoop. Got spooked and swooped in my loop. Do the knowledge, whack them seeds, get played like blue.
It was the son of us all, a gift from the gods who rule, flying through the sky with golden wings, submerged into the light. Not everybody go to king with the scepter of justice. Melanin cultivating chi until we are rebellious, finally becoming one with the righteous sun. Solar, souls are raw, magnificent glow with unconditional love. Scattered rays for days from the heavens above. Soul below, the soul is trapped in the lowest depths of hell. Incarnated into 76 trillion cells. To break free, you must be refined, masculine and feminine properties combined.
The devil is the author of confusion. 183,000 divisions and religions, denominations, sects, codes, schisms, and isms. Though isn't it written in the Bible that Jesus spoke in parables? The scriptures and gospels aren't just historical. Many passages weren't meant to be taken literal. Most of it is allegorical, based on esoteric principles. Baptist versus Methodist, Pentecostal holiness versus Jehovah's Witness, Mormon versus Seventh-day Adventists, skeptics, atheists, and agnostics, divine and conquer tactics of the reptilians, lower fourth-dimensional aliens. So beware of the draconian Satanists, though their aim is to imprison all true beings through ignorance. Though we crush the head of Leviathan, battle mind control, subliminal suggestions, brainwashing indoctrinations, using religious politics application, economics, health and labor, entertainment and war, though sex and war, in the chessboard game, whole life we've all been pawns. Puppets on strings controlled by demonic spawns. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God.
Peace to the God.
All right. So, like I said, we're going to be getting into the non-locality of consciousness, all right, and cosmic downloads. So we're going to get into that. But before we start, let me pull up the information so we can get into the next discussion. And I got some other information I got to definitely get out. All right. All right. You know that's my group, the Nagas. That's me on the end. All right. All right, we have some events coming up. We have the event December the 20th, 18th through 21st. We have the event in Florida, North Carolina, in Florida. For those that want to know more information, you can go to our webpage, www.dralimel-bey.com, and go there and check out the itinerary. We also have coming up our event March right? That's in March. And we want to give you the correct times also for that. And that will be March 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Right? That's March 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. We will be having our conference. So definitely want y'all to check that out, our conference. And I'm gonna get to this information here. Let me put in the info. Which you can edit this. Still trying to get this thing prepared here. Right. So let's go here. Boom, boom. Here we go. I got to show this under the Fair Use Act. The information which I will be presenting will allow for the purpose of criticism, news, reporting, teaching, and parody. All right. This, of course, will be mostly for teaching. So we have our documentary coming up. It's called Below, Exploring Human Consciousness Through the Science of Breath. Myself, Brother Panic, Baba Phil Valentine, Baba Azariah Azazel Ben Bey, Baba Wayne Chandler, Baba Dr. Edward Bruce Bynum, Baba Dr. Timothy Owens Moore, the Goddess Floorburn, the Goddess Kadera El-Bey, and more. All right, we'll be on this documentary Below, Exploring Human Consciousness Through the Science of Breath. Check this out when we get it out to you. All right. So we'll start with non-locality of consciousness and cosmic downloads. So let's get into that science. All right. So all consciousness is painful. All right. This is Maharaj. Now, this is what is said. All consciousness as such is limited and painful, a thing of karma or causality in time and space, bobbing up and down like a little ship on the stormy ocean of life. At the root of consciousness is the ever endless drive of desire and fear, or pursuit and flight, which is the urge to get some experiences and avoid others. Beyond all this turmoil centered on pleasure and pain is the hidden but real bliss of true awareness of being as the self beyond consciousness and its problems, right? So, consciousness, let's talk about that, all right? God is consciousness, not necessarily just the creator. God is the source of creation itself, right? He or she, it is not independent of you. It is totality of everything. So when I call myself God, I am not talking about my personal self. I'm talking about the expression of God's self that rests inside of me. The verb, the energy, not the noun. Once you think God is a noun, person, place, or thing, you separate yourself from it, immediately becoming a limited being. That's what separates the believer, religious, from the knower, spiritual. All right. Now, consciousness is the English transliteration of the ancient Egyptian name for Heru, Khonsu. Khonsu is conscious, Khonsu. This is where the term originates from. It's from Khonsu. All right. Now, you do some study on Khonsu, you find that it is nothing more than another form of Heru. All right. Who is also known as Osiris or Osar, the incarnated one. Hence, the story, the mythological story of Jesus is derived from. All right. Jesus, the Son of God. Just like Heru is the son of Osar, who is God. All right, Osar is nothing more than a form of Ra, as in Amin Ra, Atum Ra. All right, Atan Ra, or Re, the three phases of the sun in the sky, coming up over the horizon, into the peak apex, down into the evening, night. Right? So if you get the book by Hilton Otima, We Do Not Die, What is Man? An organized unit of waves, right? Animated by cosmic spirit, making man an instrument through which cosmic spirit contacts the material world, as the Bible states. What we call life is the effects produced by cosmic spirit acting on and through the brain and body, right? The effects appears in man's brain at a state of consciousness. The masters held that cosmic spirit permeates the body just as atmospheric oxygen and nitrogen diffuses in man's tissues. Hence, spirit is the animating principle. John 4:24, 6:63. There may be contradictory statements in the Bible, as many would engage in writing these books thereof. But no statement is directly contradicts the assertion that cosmic spirit is the supreme power that dwells in the core of every living being. In fact, the mother of all living things is called Hawa, Eve, which within Hebrew, Hawa is the same as Yahweh or Yahuwah, which is God. All right? Producing the body by the process of expansion and animating it in the state term life. All right, so the non-locality of this spirit, all right, forming consciousness is what we're talking about, and is not non-locality per se, because technically it's all around us and it's all within us simultaneously. This is actually prana Kundalini, right? You have Kundalini concentrated inside of you, which is the Holy Spirit inside of you, all right, which is known as the holy fire, the serpentine fire at the base of your spine. At one time it resonated at the crown of the tiara near the third eye area, or the third eye. All right. Consciousness appears in the brain only when cosmic spirit, Holy Spirit, acts on it as the light appears in an electric bulb globe, only when the power acts on it. An electric light globe on the power line with a thousands more, if it could think. It would think of itself as independent being, as man think of himself as an independent being. Cut off the power and the light is gone. In that case, man cut off the supreme power and the light is also. Well, the thing is that if man becomes the light, there is no need of cutting it off. And thus, the body falls back into a state in which that it returns to the realm of form. And you become your higher self, which continues on in consciousness. But we know that the brain has no power in and of itself to think or to remember. All right, per se. Memories are not stored in the brain cells, but these cells react to impulses reaching them from both the upper reaches of this superconscious mind and from the world around you. The brain is only a way station through which memories or impulses flow. Karma, past or present, the subconscious mind substance flows out of the superconscious field into the frontal lobes to converge into the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland controls the subconscious operations, but only as directed by the heart seed atom, releasing picture images of past karma, and the solar plexus atom releases cosmic images being presently created. Now, you have what is called the solar plexus seed atom, and you have the heart seed atom, which is in the right ventricle, and you have the brain seed atom. All right, so these are the seats of the three atoms in particular. All right, you have earthly atom, and you have heavenly man, a heavenly atom called atom cadmium. Right, that is talking about in the head. All right, so the mediator of the atom is talking about the heart seed atom, where, as stated here, releases picture images of past karma. All right. Now, in the Nation of Gods and Earth, Nation of Islam, they speak of the 5 stages of consciousness. You have consciousness, subconsciousness, superconsciousness, magnetic consciousness, and infinite consciousness. Well, the same science is taught within psychology and psychiatry. In particular, in psychology, they talk about the brainwave cycles. You have gamma, 40 to 80 cycles per second, or hertz, which is superconsciousness, highly attentive state of consciousness and perception, involving in higher active mental activity and the organization of information. You have beta, 13 to 39 cycles per second, which is hertz. You have conscious, fully awake, alert, ordinary, reality, or all functional in the 3rd dimension and middle world. Then you have alpha, 8 through 13 hertz or cycles per second, subconsciousness, deep relax, light hypnosis, trance-like state, of course, meditation, biofeedback, dream, daydreaming, or just before and after sleep, mystical state, listen to music, watching a movie. Your breath slows down. See all these different various states as that conscious or cosmic light acts off the brain. The breath takes you into these various and different states by the slower you do the breath techniques. So the slower the breath, the deeper you go into the different levels of consciousness. All right, so have theta for the 8 cycles per second superconsciousness, which you get drowsy, unconscious, light sleep, shamanic journeying, or hence out-of-body experience, lucid dreaming, access to the fifth dimension, non-ordinary reality, the upper and lower worlds. Delta, all right, 0.5 to 4 hertz, cycles per second. You have the dream state, deeply unconscious, sleep, astral traveling, dream, visiting other dimensions, all right? Now, the conscious mind is only about 10%, and that's about the 10% in which that most people use is to analyze, think, plan, short-term memory. However, the subconscious mind, which is 90%, oftentimes people fail to tap into the long-term memory, emotional and feelings, habit patterns, relationship patterns, addictions, involuntary bodily functions, creativity, development stages, spiritual connections, intuitiveness or intuition. Now you have the spiritual connections, all right? Most people don't go into the spiritual connections, but the waking consciousness mind is the mind we use in our daily life. It's the reason why we're talking about that person only use about 10% of their brain. It perceives the incidence of passing time is marked by our everyday lives, hence the calendar, the watch, clock, so forth and so on. Now, the subconscious mind is the portion of the superconsciousness or conscious. This subconscious substance is divided to the functions. It automatically controls the function of the physical form, is the portion of the superconsciousness in which that short memories of fear and phobia brings them into the world of, into the waking cosmic mind. Superconscious mind holds its life entire library of experience. It is man's book of life and judgment in one. It is divided into three aspects: the waking conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the causal field, force field. Now, the wisdom mind, sometimes called the Adi Buddha, the supreme wisdom, right? The supreme wisdom. Now think about it. That word, supreme wisdom, only Elijah Muhammad has books called the Supreme Wisdom. As a matter of fact, the lessons are called the Supreme Wisdom Lessons. So this supreme wisdom, which is called Adi Buddha, supreme wisdom, is talking about the oversoul and is the field of consciousness which overshadowing each individual and is the home of the monad, hence the nomad, the seat of comparable bliss where truth abides. All right. So we have to look at this. Here's to the left. You see superconsciousness, causal force field, waking consciousness, so forth and so on. You see it coming directly from out of the pituitary gland, pineal gland area. You see it imprinting upon the frontal lobes, in which that deals with the subconsciousness. Your chakra system correlates to these levels of consciousness. The base root extends to the sacral and personal, interpersonal consciousness, which is beginning beta state. All right. Interpersonal consciousness, ego, spirit, lower self. You have the navel, intrapersonal consciousness, middle beta state. You have the solar plexus, life, self, collective consciousness, which is the ending beta state. You have the heart, subconsciousness, alter state, inner heart, alpha state. You have the throat, which is superconsciousness, theta states. You have the first, third eye, as we call it, third eye. We call it first eye, magnetic consciousness, delta state. You have the crown, infinity, quantum consciousness, or collective unconsciousness, which is the soul, higher self, which is basically delta theta state. All right. So you have interpersonal consciousness, intrapersonal consciousness, life consciousness, subconsciousness, superconsciousness, magnetic consciousness, and infinite consciousness. I added, as you can see here, to the Nation of Islam, Nation of Gods of Earth, 5 stages of consciousness. We added interpersonal consciousness, intrapersonal consciousness. All right. In which that to give us 7 states of consciousness. Now, we also had to bump up the psychiatrists and the psychologists on 5 states of consciousness. in which they speak about these things. But we got gamma waves, which is 40 hertz, higher mental activity, including perception, problem solving. Then you have mu waves, activity occurs around roughly 12 hertz. You have beta waves, 13 to 40 hertz, active, busy, focus, thinking or concentrating, arousal, cognition, memory. Alpha wave, 7 to 13 hertz, deep meditation or relaxation while awake, pre-sleep, pre-awakened drowsiness. Delta waves, all right, or theta waves, excuse me. You have 4 to 7 hertz, dream, deep meditation, REM, rapid eye movement, sleep, astral projection. Delta waves, 4 hertz, deep dreamless sleep, loss of body awareness. All right, delta theta, 0 to 4 hertz, unified state of cosmic consciousness, i.e., death. All right. So you have waking, dreaming, REM, sleep, dreamless sleep, non-REM, transcendental consciousness, TC, cosmic consciousness, CC, glorified state of cosmic consciousness, GC, and unified state of cosmic consciousness, UC. All right. And all correlates to what I did video years ago back in 2005. Right, when we did 7 circuits of the brain, which was the, I guess you could say, the male version to Dr. Jewel Pookram's female version, I guess you can say, of her 7 circuits of the brain. And so it was the correlation, I should say, of the two. So the first brain, of course, is the brain stem. Second brain would be the pons. The third brain would be the cerebellum. The fourth brain, the midbrain. All right, the fifth brain, the cave of Brahma. The sixth brain, and you have the seventh brain, which is the frontal lobes, which is the area in which that we speak specifically of holding consciousness. Right, all states of consciousness are going. When man physically dies. All right. We just like to repeat so much, but we dealing with the greatest mystery in the world, and it's enveloped in all the fog that we can produce by scientific ignorance and theological fraud. Scientists regard man as an independent entity separate and apart from cosmic spirit, the supreme power. That is wrong. What we know of a living man is not a being separated, distinct from the supreme power, but the effects of the supreme power manifest on the physical plane through an organized body of waves. All right, producing in the human state or the human brain a state of consciousness, which should clearly inform man that it is the effects of the supreme power manifesting on the physical or the material plane. But man knows that they only does not know the only true God. Before he knows that, he is misled in searching here and there for God, not knowing that God is within him. Luke 17:21. Man has become the supreme power flowing through the body. Cut off the power and all functions ends, including the state of brain function called consciousness. There is no consciousness in the brain except the produced by the supreme power acting on the brain. Right? So the supreme power is acting on the brain. This is the non-locality in which that is being spoken of, but it's not really non-local. It is actually you in another dimension, the real you, in which that is working through this vehicle in this time. Okay? So what is interpersonal consciousness? Well, it's self-consciousness. Means consciousness of one's own actions or act and state as belonging to or originating in one's form, aware of oneself as an object of the observation of another, dream in black and white. All right? This is the individual who dreams in black and white, and yes, there are people who dream in black and white. All right? I remember one time, it was me and a brother Jihad. We was in Fayetteville, right? And we was looking, well, we was at the barbershop and and Brother Jahar was waiting to get a haircut. All right. And this guy was in the chair and we was talking about dreams, and he talked about his dream, and he was talking about that he dreamed in black and white. And this was a brother. And so me and Johnny looked at each other because we was talking about the same exact information about people who dream in black and white, how we get the hell away from them. And so me and Johnny looked at each other with Jahard and we started laughing. We just laughed ourselves out of the barbershop. You couldn't believe this Negro was talking about that he was dreaming in black and white. You know what I'm saying? Going on the days of Leave It to Beaver. You know, the Andy Griffin show, Gilligan Island. You know what I'm saying? Even eventually, you know, they begin to have color. All right? At least the Andy Griffin and Gilligan Island. You know what I'm saying? But come on. You know, that was ridiculous. So we knew that he was operating at a low level. You know, his pineal gland was just giving enough melatonin, serotonin for him to function. You know what I'm saying? But as far as having any deep awareness, never have any deep discussions, nah, that was not coming. All right. So you have intrapersonal consciousness, means awareness of one's associations. Life consciousness means aware of one's own existence, sensations, and environment, capable of thought, will, and perception. It is responsible for collecting information, storing information, and memory, making rational decisions, and causing deliberate behavior. A person has the tendency to relate to objects, all right, in this apparent reality as a completely solid. However, the truth of the matter is that everything is light energy. In fact, atoms are 99.99999% empty space, at least apparently empty space. All right. We know that it has the most violent of physics. All right. Matter is nothing more than dense light slowed down that is crystallized. The consciousness of the average person actualizes this holographic illusion or apparent reality, all right, every 7/10 of a second. Subconsciousness means underlying awareness. It attempts to messages received as truth, whether or not that they are basis of actual facts. It is responsible for regulating body functions such as breathing, memory management, goal-seeking, creativity, and automatic behavior. The reptilian brain controls the portion of the psyche called the involuntary system. Superconsciousness means being above, beyond time and space, that which is apparent, so-called five senses. Actually, one sense, which is touch. There's only one sense. So we know people always talk about see, touch, taste, smell, and hearing, but there's actually only one touch, one sense, which is feel or touch. The so-called senses exist within limitations with no means of escape. So in the terms of human consciousness, we know that human consciousness is shaped like a cube. A person would take the cube and the egg-shaped auric sphere that fits around the human body and calculate the size difference. You can tell exactly where the person is in consciousness. Mind becomes open, and the practitioner yogi acquires various miraculous powers, siddhas. They're called higher sensory perception, oftentimes also called ESP, extrasensory perception. Here are the various modes of cognition. All right, so right here it says, yeah, here are the various modes of cognition. Now, of course, you go to the Bible, 1 Corinthians 12 chapter, the 1st through the 11th verse. I'm talking about the spiritual gifts received by the Holy Spirit. Therefore, the Holy Spirit, Kundalini, or love, God is love, is the extender. All right, so you have the clear sentient or sentient, which is the extension of feelings touching at a distance. The gift of healing would be called clairsentience. Faith, The subject defined faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. All right, so let's look at this right here. When you go to 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, it talks about various gifts in which that you can receive once you allow the Holy Spirit to move through you. You receive these spiritual gifts. I'm doing the English version, all right? But clairsentience, faith, miraculous powers, psychemistry, alchemy, levitation. All right, faith. The scriptures define faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. As we said, Hebrews 11:1, miraculous powers, psychemistry, the ability of touching a physical object and identifying a person by their auric energy residue, thought waves that were previously left behind. Alchemy, internal and external. The chief aims of conversion of lead, red, base chakra or base metal, cherubim, into gold, crown chakra, seraphim. All right, levitation, the ability to rise in the air in apparent defiance of gravity. All right, so we have clairvoyance, which is extending sight, the gift of wisdom, knowledge, prophecy. Psychic abilities is a lower form of prophecy, right, which originates from the solar plexus, prophecy from the third eye. The ordinate originates from the solar plexus. The gift of prophecy originates from the activation of the pineal gland or the first third eye chakra. True prophecy is simply a rational calculation by mind in tune to the cosmic forces. All right. Third prophecy is simply a rational calculation by mind in tune to the cosmic presence governing creation and evolution. Prophecy are drawn through the careful and exactly calculation based upon esoteric sciences. All right. Precognition, the ability to perceive in the future, knowledge of something prior to its happening. All right. Intuition, the ability to perceive the truth without the process of thought and knowing. Telepathy or telepathics, mentally communicating, or the ability to transfer thought to another individual or species without the use of the word or telephone. All right. Discernment. Distinguishing between of spirits. Guidance from higher sources can be identified by these traits, recognizing a higher power. Present creative renewal approaches of spiritual teachings, but does not contradict teachings of the world major religions. To inform the person properly, give them the opportunity to revolt to the next conscious level. Emphasizes the personal efforts necessary for spiritual growth at one's pace towards further expression of personal or potential God self, God love, inspiration, and embodiment, the receiver. All right. All right. Emphasis the personal efforts necessary for spiritual growth at one's own pace towards fully expressing our potential God self, as stated. Create love, inspiration, empower the receiver always is for the good of the whole. Focus on helping others and is inclusive, never separative. The main purpose is to serve humanity. Advices and suggestions only. right? Never demand a person to surrender one's free will to them. Therefore, you are never in conflict with your own personal ethnic. Channel remains conscious of what is being spiritually conveyed and is able to control it. Right? Just receiving impressions by telepathy. Hears a still, small voice, short to the point and intelligent, must then translate into own words. Receive energy through head, forehead, throat, heart chakra centers, all functions in that unison. All right. Guidance from a lower source can be identified by these traits. Often claim ultimate authority, usually said that they are God or one else possess the same God force. They always have the person looking and praying outside of themselves for God instead of looking inside. Right? 1 John 4:4, greater is he within you than he that is in the world. The devil rules this world, so the he is the devil. All right, so let's look at it. So the he is the devil, matter, flesh, tangible, physical body. The devil, the counterpart of the etheric, double or doppelganger in the physical body. Together that makes up the lower world creation, a lower creation world called Asia, meaning the world of the making, reproduction. This is where we get everybody on planet Earth is Asia. You have us as the Asiatics. You have the Orientals as the Oriental Asians. You have the Pale Albions as the Caucasus Asians, Caucasians. So everybody on the planet Earth is Asian. Can't get away from it. Right? So this is the world of the making, of the realm of the making, right? Or reproduction, which is the same as the word Theosophical Society teachings, as well as Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You know, Asia means body or physical. We are all Asia, according to Madame Blavatsky, Theosophical Society teachings. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, as well as also the Apostle on the Elijah Muhammad, right? Elder Morian or Lemuria, Moors are referred to by Asiatics. Ethiopians are referred to as Caucasus Asians, or Orientals are referred to as Asians. Thus, beings that makes. This is the world material plane. They only tell the people that they should listen to no other except him or her. And so these are the people who often does this. They tell you, don't listen to no one else but them, or read no other books except the ones that they recommend or have. All this to limit the person's range of knowledge, and it acts as a form of mind control. Usually present rehash generalization or generalized non-specific information that can be found anywhere. Often claim spiritual growth happens with no personal efforts, that they have reached godhood, and since you have not, you must listen to them. Usually one in out of self, specifically at the expense of others, they often contradict themselves, flatters the ego of the receiver, appeals to greed and desire of power, creates specialness, all right, and separation is often prejudice, according to Webster Dictionary, prejudice to prejudge or draw form and conclusion without any knowing the facts, bias, claim-minded in their view. All right. Often came as many confusing and contradictory voices compete for attention. Possessions, according to Webster Dictionary, is state of being dominated by evil all right, usually takes place while in a subconscious trance state, minimalistic, the dividing, all right, the individual cannot remember the events nor control what is being said or written. Automatic writing may help at times, even anytime, even if it is inconvenience or embarrassing for the individual, often frightens to each other. See through the solar plexus energy or center, you have clairvoyance, all right, the gift of interpreting tongues. Hey, so you have clairsentience, which is extended the smell, clairgustance, gestation, which is the extended taste. Right. So speaking in different kinds of tongues in Acts 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 reads that they are all filled with the Holy Spirit or ghost and began to speak their own tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. All right. So you go to the book of Acts 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Check that out. All right. Because that every man heard them speaking their own language. Behold, not all these which speak Galilean, and he heard that every man in his own tongue wherein we are born. All right. Parthians, Medians, Elamites, and the dwellers of the Mesopotamia, Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus and Asia. Right. Phrygia and Pramlia in Egypt and is part of Libya. Okay. About Cyrene, stranger of Rome, Jews, and proselyte. All right. You have the Cretans and Arabians. We did not hear speak in any tongue the wonderful works of God. Therefore, speaking in tongues simply means that the individual is speaking a language that she, or he never learned as they were taught before. Magnetic consciousness means an attracting power behind any distance so great that this force controls every ray of light from the sun. Infinite consciousness means the quality of being unlimited, boundless, and existing beyond time and space. A cerebral cortex, consciousness, and memory. All right, remember now, this infinite consciousness. Remember, all right, means the quality of being unlimited, boundless, existing beyond time and space or quantity. Okay, remember that. Because it's the breath in which that takes you into these different or these 7 different states of consciousness. Breath is Shu. Within the ancient Kemetic teachings, the only begotten or the first begotten son of Atum, symbolized as the God. All right. So the 7 states of the fall of man, which symbolizes the mind, breaths per minute and reaches deeper levels of consciousness. You do that by slowing your breath down. Right? The average person breathes 18 breaths a minute, and within 24 hours, that's 25,920 breaths or so in which that has been breathed, based on the principle yin and yang. All right. Also, the beast breath would be 666, 18 breaths a minute, which activates the reptilian brain stem. All right. Earth, 25% of the physical body composed of apparent solid material, flesh, yet only 0.0001% of the carbon atom is solid to begin with. Right, that's what I'm talking about. That 99.99999% is empty space, or apparently empty space. Right, and then you have 9 breaths a minute. Limbic brain is active at 9 breaths a minute, so you cut it in half. Right, water equals 3/4 or 75% of the water composes the physical body, just like the earthling. 7.5 breaths a minute. Cerebrum brain, cerebellum brain is active in dental glands, hormones, tissues. Fire, right, is the physical manifestation of light. You have 6 breaths a minute. Medulla oblongata is activated. Past lives, photographic memory, cellular structure 30 equals 36 minutes. You have air. The average person breathes 3 cubic feet of air per hour. 76 trillion cells composes the physical body. Our cream existence began 76 trillion years ago. Mind emerged from out of triple state of darkness. Right? The universe is 76 quintillion miles in diameter. So we go to 4.5 breaths a minute. All right. Pituitary gland becomes fully activated. The molecular structure, if you did for 48 minutes, you would tap into it. Symbolizes ether or sound. Travels at 1,120 feet per second. All right. So we're looking at the pituitary gland being fully activated, but the molecular structure, you can tap into it at 48 minutes if you did this breath technique of 4.5 breaths per minute. Travels at 1,120 feet per second, like I said. So that's sound. So ether sound is focused at this level. At 3 breaths a minute, the pineal gland is fully activated. Atomic particles, if you breathe for 60 minutes, madness, light, it travels at 186,000 miles per second. All right, then you have 1 breath a minute. All portions of the brain are active. One brain neuron contains 25 billion bits of information. Subatomic particles, if you was able to tap into, if you breathe 72 minutes. Prana, thought equals travel of 24 billion miles per second, 24 frames per second. Vibration moves at 77 billion rate per second. All right. So, as you see here, the most important aspect is trying to get down to 1 breath a minute. All right. All portions of the brain are active. One brain neuron, like we said, contains 25 billion bits of information. We're talking about tapping into your prana, the thoughts. Also, the subatomic particles, they've done it 72 minutes. Right now, 1 breath a minute, simply breathing in for 30 seconds, breathing out for 30 seconds. No pause. Breathing in for 30 seconds, breathing out for 30 seconds. And you master it once you feel at ease that this is no problem. All right. And that takes you into all the various levels of consciousness that we just went over, whether you're dealing with psychiatry, psychology, if you're dealing with the occult, metaphysics, all right, esoteric sciences, it doesn't matter. The breath is the prime focus of all these sciences: yoga, qigong, tai chi. Okay. You go to the Upanishads, it speaks of Sri Aurobindo. All right. And you have the Sat Shet Ananda. Now, Sat is essence, existence, reality. Shet, Sat, Shat, Sat, Shet. Conceptive knowledge. Executive force. Shet equals consciousness, a self-awareness force of existence. All right. Most people don't remember their childhood beyond the age of 4. All right. Definitely don't remember their first year birthday. All right. So we talking about becoming self-conscious, that normally took about 3 to 4 years for most people. All right. Shed conceptive knowledge, executive force, shed consciousness, a self-aware force of existence. From root word shed, to think, to be aware. Divine counterpart of lower mind. So you have shet sheti or shakti, cosmic force, the divine power of active create of consciousness and formative activity. From the root word shak, which means to be able. Ananda, love, joy, perfection. Ananda is the secret source and support of all existence. It is ecstasy and beauty tied from the root word nan, to rejoice. Right? Sat Shad Ananda is the divine of human and the universe, and is also the fountain source of all lower manifested life. The Spanish side divides the human being as archetype into Atman, the divine self of all. There's 5 Purusha spirits, and there's 4, and there's 5 Kosha sheets. Right? So it says that Atma becomes the material consciousness of the physical Purusha. Right? Sheet built on food. Then becomes the vital and nervous consciousness of the Purusha, sheets of life force. Atman becomes the mental consciousness of the Purusha, sheet built of mind. Atman becomes the super mental of truth conscious Purusha, sheet built of discrimination or wisdom. Atman becomes the blissful Purusha, sheets of infinite beauty tide. There are 5 sheets, and there's consciousness or Atman in the sight of infinity, divine self-awareness, and immune. All effects will exist in the sheet built of Shet, or divine consciousness, and becomes the absolute consciousness. All right, the Atman in its pure divine state exists in the sheet built of Sat and becomes pure divinity. Then the manifested human called Jatman, the divine self Atman, expresses itself in 3 bodies: the physical body, and astral, and the causal body. All right. So within the manifested human called Javatman, the divine self Atman expresses itself in 3 bodies: the physical body, astral body, and the causal body. All right. So during human life, there are 4 different states of consciousness. Of course, we went over them. But this is the way that they break it down from out of India. The waking state, the condition of being awoke or awake. The sleepy dreaming state, the condition of consciousness with the inner intelligent experience during sleep. A state of perceiving subtle things. right? The deep sleeping state, a state of unconsciousness for the human ego, but a conscious state for the soul, higher intelligent. All right. The sleeping, dreaming state, the condition of consciousness with the inner intelligent experience during sleep, a state of perceiving subtle things. A deep sleep state, a state of unconsciousness for the human, like the deep sleep now, but a conscious state for the soul and higher consciousness or intelligent. The fourth state is the Tariya, the pure divine spiritual conscious self-aware at one mint called Samanti or Samadhi, all right? As in the Mahdi, in which they're supposed to come back and save the people. I guess he's similar to a Christ, all right? So basically, is the pure divine spiritual conscious self-aware at one mint called Samadhi. Right? You hear about the Mahdi within Islam that the people waiting for the Mahdi, M-A-H-D-I, the Mahdi, to return. All right? All right. Sri Aurobindo interprets the, all right, Atman is the highest self, one with Brahma. Remember, I showed you the cave of Brahma. Javatman is one of the divine many, dependent on the one, and Atman is the one, supported the many. And we know that the heart electrical field is 100 times stronger than the brain, and the heart's magnetic field is 5,000 times. The feelings of your heart affects consciousness. I just wanted to break that down. Right? It's the heart. Well, here's one of the manifestation process. Expected to happen, shift to a reality where your desire is already achieved. Create the rolling, driving force, get excited. All right? Fire the intention. Create the bridge between the imagination and reality. Let go. Allow it to come to you. Return to your natural state. All right? So, once again, expect it to happen, shift to a reality where you desire to already achieve, create the rolling driving force, get excited, fire the intentions, create the bridge between imagination and reality, let go, allow it to come to you, return to your natural state, be at peace. Ashe. All right, so what is this one God that they're talking about? It's the one element, the first element of the periodical chart is hydrogen, which hydro means water, gen means fire. So, all right, that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with hydrogen. It's the most abundant element in the universe. It can replace most types of fuel, even for the human body. It burns clean. When the hydrogen is burnt by oxygen, we know that water forms and energy is released, right? ATP, right? Energy is released, right? That's that gen, that fire, right? And we know that in water, we found that according to Luke Montagnier, all right, a Frenchman, a physicist, he states specifically, right? He stated specifically that in water, DNA can be formed, apparently from out of nowhere, at the right frequency. DNA can be formed. Now, of course, this is based on the elliptical alignment of Sirius A and Sirius B. This is what I gathered from over 25 years ago, that sound form geometrical shapes, but that is based on a particular frequency of sound, and sound in water creates DNA, right? And of course, you know, you see the sacred geometry, circle, vesica Pisces, the equilateral triangle, pentagon, pentagram, hexagram, 7 days of creation, seed of life, tree of life, egg of life, flower of life, fruit of life, the Metatron cube. Mathematics is the language in which God has written the universe. This is Galileo, all right? And we understand fire has that triangular shape that we just talked about, water, right? We have earth. Fire, that triangle. We see the water here, right? Downward triangle. We see the earth, downward triangle with a line across. Air, upward triangle with a line across. And ether with a 0 or O. All right. And notice that we're looking at three-dimensional shapes here. For each one, fire, water, earth, air, ether. All right. So we know that these shapes is based on the golden mean ratio, as well as also, which is phi, and also on pi. All right. Russell, all right, Walter Russell, he says all things are involved in all things. All motion is curved and all curvature is spiral. All right, we can tell that. Look at your fingerprint, look at a head of lettuce cut across a cabbage, look at your hair, look at the spinning of the galaxy, look at your ear. It look like fetuses attached to the side of your head. Atoms, subatomic particles becomes atoms. Atoms gather together becomes molecules. Molecules come together, become cells. Cells become tissues. Blood cells, of course. White blood cells. Right? Tissue becomes organs. Organs becomes the organ system, hence organism. And I'm showing that because sound, all right, sound causes the body to come into existence, geometrical shapes. Most advanced machine on the earth, and they will tell you it has no designer. Well, we know the designer. We just told you that is hydrogen, the first element on the periodical chart. All right. 1 Corinthians 3:16, do you not know that your body, that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells? If anyone defiles the temple of God, God will destroy him, for the temple of God is holy, which 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. Or do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is within you, whom you have from God, and you're not your own? You was bought at a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and your spirit, which are God's. Right? 2 Corinthians 13:5. Do you not know yourselves that Jesus Christ is in you? 2 Corinthians 6:16-18. For you are the temple of the living God, and God has said, I will dwell in them. right, and walk among them. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. I will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, save the Lord Almighty. Therefore, God exists within you, but you also exist in God. Just like the ocean is in a fish, while at the same time the fish is in the water or in the ocean. And this correlates to the all is mine, as above, so below, as within, so without. So the most important thing is as above, so below, as within, so without. Right? Numeral value goes along with all of this. They average out the all is mine, and it came to 45. All right. Of course, 45 is the number 9. All right. So notice that the all is mine comes up to 45, the thoughts of God and the egg sphere of creation. Above, so below, of course. And then as below, so above. All right. So notice how that as above, so below comes to 45 also. All right. 45, of course, is 4 plus 5, which give us basically completion, the number 9. All right. And even you take 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it will equal 45. All right. And I'm saying all this because we got to get into the science of the geometrical shapes and the average body's organ frequencies. Thyroid, parathyroid glands is 62 to 68 megahertz. Thymus gland 65 to 68 megahertz. Heart 67 to 70 megahertz. Lungs 58 to 65 megahertz. Liver 55, 60 megahertz. All right, stomach 58 to 65 megahertz. Pancreas 60 to 80 megahertz. All right, descending colon 58 to 63 megahertz. Ascending colon 45, 46, 50, 60 megahertz. All right. All right. These are the frequencies of the body, some of the major organs. All right. The 5-pointed star configuration symbolizes, it's just like on Leonardo da Vinci's picture of man. Just notice that if you stood out with your feet apart and your arms up, you're standing at a 5-pointed star configuration. Every cell in our bodies is a platonic state crystal form. Every protein in our body is penta shape, and therefore based on pi proportions. In fact, the more we zoom in and construct the pinnacle within the pinnacle is process through which can have forever, more the phi ratio is evident. This means that our human constitution is based on similarity, expression of fractality, evidence in the spirit molecule that known only pi has no boundaries. The current immense manifestation was the 108. All right. Just want to build on that right quick. Of course, 108 degrees, permeates our whole entire physical matrix. Right? The body is held together by sound. The presence of disease indicates that some sound is going out of tune. All right, and we know the various sounds because we talk about the main six Solfeggero frequencies are. You have 396 hertz, liberating you from guilt and fear. 417 hertz, undoing situations and facilitate. Now, there's 418 hertz, in which that's the frequency for your melanin. All right, 528 hertz, transformation and miracles, DNA repair. All right, 439 hertz, the connecting relationship. 741 hertz, expression solution. 852 hertz, returning to the spiritual order. All right. That correlates to arm, leg, arm, head, in which that we talked about earlier. All right, arm, leg, arm, supreme head, or Allahi, man. All right, then you have Allahu, which is woman. Together they form Allahumma, which is Elohim, or Alpha and Omega. Correlate with some more geometria slash numerology slash sacred geometry. All right, because we talking about arm, leg, arm, head. Well, the Hebrews also do arm, leg, arm, head, but they do it as Yahivahe, the name of God, which is actually symbolized DNA being the building blocks of life. All right. So here you have Yahivahe. It comes up to 26, 5, 6, 5, 10, 26. Then if you add Yad, Yahe, Va into a pyramid, 10, 15, 21, it comes down to a total of 46. Right. But get this book, The Limitless Mind. Right, got to remote viewing and transformation of consciousness. Russell Turrell. Also wrote another book called Miracles of Mind. Authored another book. But anyway, he says this. Dr. Tork is one of the new groups of brilliant and courageous scientists who are changing the view of nature reality. In this company, we can include English biologist Rupert Sheldrake and his theory on the morphic resonance. Sheldrake states that very presence of paradigm shift to things that they are because of what they were. The law of nature is not absolute. Rather, they are accumulation of habits. Right? The law of gravity, for example, is pretty well fixed habit because owing to the billions of beings throughout the boundless universe, we get its great ascent. You get yogi, swamis, and many others of the few Christian saints report that in deep meditation or spiritual rapture, they have been known to bump their head on the ceiling. Rapture is nothing in a shift paradigm. All right. Well, we know that biblically, the word rapture is not even in the Bible. All right. It just speaks about Matthew 24 chapter that one woman be at the mill, another one be wherever, and the woman at the mill, would be disappeared and so forth and so on. But here we'll be talking about with the Fibonacci numbers correlations. All right. This is based on pi and phi. right? Thyroid, parathyroid gland, 62 to 68 megahertz. Thymus gland, 65 to 68 megahertz. Heart, 67 to 70 megahertz. Lungs, 58 to 65 megahertz. Liver, 55 to 60 megahertz. Stomach, 68 to 65, 68 to 65 megahertz. Pancreas, 60 to 80 megahertz. Descending colon, 58 to 63 megahertz. Ascending colons, 50 to 60 megahertz. Right, even here, we have the head, 20 to 30 hertz. Chest wall, 5 to 10 hertz. Arms, 5 to 10 hertz. Hands, 30 to 50 hertz. Lower arm, 60 to 30 hertz. All right, shoulder girdle, all right, 4 to 5 hertz. All right, the eye socket, structure 20 to 90 hertz. Shoulder girdle, 4 to 5 hertz. All right, so what we find out is that hydrogen, as we showed earlier, actually is prana, the first element on the periodical chart. Divine essence of life, that would be the symbolic to the mother goddess principle outside of the human body called prana. And prana Kundalini is the name of it. All right, so what we find out is that the Kundalini, the mother goddess principle, within each and every one of us, right, the mother of virtue, that at the very beginning of the universe, the goddess was alone. Right, from her was born all that is desirable and all that has energy. From her, all comes all beings, whether born from the egg, seed, or the womb. From her, the plants and animals and humankind, she is the supreme energy. This is Baracha, the prophets of the old spoke in allegory terms of external feminine power, which led to the revelation of our divine self. Right? In India is the Kundalini, that Laotazi, that is the Tao. In Jewish mysticism, she is the Shekinah. And in the New Testament, it is in the image of the Holy Spirit. All right. The Kundalini is the inner mother reflective of the great mother within each being. According to the Shakta Tantra, is a sadhana sutra of the monastic Advaita. So the Shakta Tantra is the sadhana sestra of the monastic Vedanta. It is to me a profound and powerful system, and the doctrine of Shakti or divine power is one of the greatest involvement or evolve through spiritual element intuition by the human mind, which according to the teachings is a manifestation of divine consciousness itself, Shiva. So consciousness exists outside of the brain and physical body. All right, so this consciousness, Kundalini, at one time fell here, or rose from here, I should say, and fell. All right, this is on the crown of the pharaohs. In particular, this is Tutankhamun to the left, with the serpent raising up. There's a shoulder vulture that just simply shows, all right. Now notice the sciences is that the Ka and the Ba, well, of course, the Kabbalah, the science of the afterlife. J. Wayner was the form in which that the blessed uh, dead lived on in the hereafter, and it was also the result of the union between the Ba and the Ka. And the Ankh was believed, Ak was believed to live on unarmed for eternity. They were sometimes referred to as the shining ones. All right, so you have your Kat, the body, the physical component. All right, and the Ba, and immortal soul, body, bird of the hawk with the head of the person, and the Ka, double life, life force, invisible twin, or spirit. Now, the science is this: is that these three bodies, in particular, the Aku, or Ankh, or Ku, and the Ba and the Ka, these three bodies survive death. This is your your glorified body, Kodesh body, that symbolizes your aura that you have right now. You have your Ka, you have your etheric body, the Aku, and you have your health body, which is about a foot and a half outside of your physical body. All right. So it's shaped just like an egg. And the egg have the outer shell, the body, and the white substance around the yolk. The white substance symbolizes all right. You have your outer aura. That'll be symbolic to the soul. What we find out is that in the physical, when the Aku auric field is still attached to the physical body, which this is also where downloads, cosmic downloads come from, is from the astral plane, mental plane, causal plane, all right, spiritual soul plane, all right. All right, so sickness may also be caused by prolonged excess prana in localized area. This is called pranic congestion. Now, this affects the areas that may protrude to about 7 inches or more. In more severe cases, the effect of the inner aura may protrude 2.5 feet or more. And for instance, a person suffering from heart enlargement has pranic congestion around the heart, left shoulder, and upper arm. The effect areas can protrude to more about 1 foot in thickness, and pranic depletion and congestion to surrounding fine meridians or bioplasmic channels may partially or severely blocked. This means the prana cannot flow freely in or around that affected area. Clairvoyantly, those affected with this area are seen as light or dark gray in color. If the effects areas are inflamed, this may appear as muddy red with such cancer class. It appears as muddy yellow with appendicitis, as muddy green as with some case of the ear pleural problem, as muddy orange. The bioplasmic ray project perpendicularly from the surface of the physical body. These rays are called health rays, and the inner penetrate the aura. The sum of the health rays is called the health aura. The health aura follows the contour of the the visible physical body and functions as a protective force field that shields the whole body from germs and disease, bioplasmic matter, and the surrounding. Toxins, waste, germs, disease, bioplasmic are expelled by the health rays, right? Predominant through the pores. All right, just pay attention to how these particular colors look when a person is sick or in a weakened state. You want the rays to be healthy looking, right? So if a person is weakened, the health rays drooping or partially entangled, then the whole body becomes susceptible to the infection. Okay. That's what happens. Healing is facilitated by strengthening and disentangling the health rays. Beyond the health aura is another luminous exercise field called the outer aura. It interpenetrates the body. It is usually multicolored, shaped like an inverted egg. Its color is influenced by physical, emotional, and mental state of the person. Clairvoyantly, it is observed the sick person have holes in the outer aura through such prana is leaked out. Therefore, the outer aura may be considered as a force field that may contain to prevent the leaking of pranic energy. In a sense, it acts as a container or bottle of the subtle energies. All right. So how do you prevent the leaks in your auric field? You have to learn pranic healing energy. First, the pranic breathing breath, 7171, 6363, or empty retention. 7171 is simply breathe it in for 7 seconds, hold it for 1 count, for 1 second, breathe out for 7 seconds, hold it for 1 second. All right, this is the science of the auric field, the Kundalini. All right, the auric field is emitted from the Kundalini, as well as the chakras. All right, the chakras emit the colors in which that forms foundation for the auric field. Now look at the science here of the ancient Egyptians, and you see that they acknowledge the serpent, and it's the serpent to the eye, as you see here. The serpent has the wings, the flying serpent, hence the flying dragon. This is where the concept comes from. And it has the eye right there in between the hands of the goddess sitting. All right. The Uraeus, as it's called, the serpent crown, showing the Egyptians and the Nubian royalties, also known as the Nagas or the Negis. All right. Amongst many indigenous African cultures, the Uraeus is the symbol of wisdom, power, and protection. The third eye to the forehead, that Indi stone is also in Egypt, and as you see, it got carried into India. Here's the example of that again. Between the eyes is the sun. So Osirian endeavoring to snare the great Apis above the head as protecting him in most dangerous task is the wing orb, symbol of divine penetration and assistance. Right. Harahim, the last pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, dressed as an Egyptian cobra with the Egyptian cobra Uraeus. All right, headdress of the representing the Egyptian brand cobra hood. That's where that style comes from. The ancient Egyptians, the beard that represents the Egyptian cobra underbelly. Look at it on top of the head, somebody of the Kundalini raising up, coming towards the brain, over through the brain to connecting the left and the right hemisphere of the brain, hence the zigzag. So, we know Christians refer to the fall of man as, Eve was disobedient because of the serpent in the garden, and the serpent tempted her to eat the fruit of the tree of good and evil, which God forbade. And then, of course, Adam and Eve. Eve gave Adam the apple or whatever that fruit was. Never made mention of it. Everybody assumed it was the apple. And that made him want to get in movies, because that's what you got to go back to. You got to go back to the Adam and Eve scenario. But this is what the Bible actually, if you've never seen it in a movie or some type of other screenplay, that's where they get all this story from. Biblically, goes back to ancient Egypt. All right, that's where it goes back to, ancient Egypt, Kemet. All right, this is the 4 depicted in Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo. All of that is talking about how one time he resided here at the third eye area, but now fell to here. It is triangular sacrum, which shapes the posterior wall of the formed by 5 fused vertebrates in adults. It accentuates superiorly with the inferiorly with the laterally the sacral. All right, tissulate or articulate here with the 2 hip bones to form the sacral, the sacroiliac, which is the joints of the pelvis. All right, so this is what you've seen here So now consciousness has fallen within the body. At one time, consciousness existed outside of you, as it still does today. It's called prana Kundalini. Then Kundalini took on the physical body, hence, i.e., aspect of your soul, fell through the chakra system, 7 endocrine glands, into the sacrum, hence the holy bone. All right. The Kundalini, which is the Malahara chakra at the base of the spine, is like coil 3.5 times awaiting to rise. All right. Several factors lead to the ancients to the symbolic idea of the coiled serpent. First, when Kundalini does rise out of the spine, being the 2 sympathetic trunks, the discharge of a double helix of energy can be felt across the serpent, the spine. Some people, such as Gopi Krishna, called it a zigzag. Now, it's no coincidence that the Nation Gods and Earth, Nation Islam, all right, Nation Gods and Earth in particular, you have the supreme alphabet, and Z is zigzag zig, which means to understand is the black man, the black woman, black child, sun, moon, and star, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. All right. So the Kundalini is called a zigzag. All right. No coincidence. Here it is. You have the caduceus. You have Revelation, the 5th chapter, the 1st verse, and it says, I said in the right hand, I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book of written within. It's written within now. The book is written within, on the backside sealed with the 7 seals. All right. Hence the 7 chakras. Right. So this is shown. And the Kundalini has an elliptical pattern. Is that nearly identical to that of the DNA, in which that shows the connections between Sirius. All right. Because Sirius goes around each other in an elliptical pattern every 50 years in the same manner. Right? The Bible calls it the Great Jubilee year, in which that nobody has to work, and you can eat off the harvest in which that you have picked up for the 50 years. Of course, we know you can't eat, there ain't no crops lasting a whole 50 years. But of course, this is what the Bible says. On the 50th year, you have the Jubilee. All right. Or this correlates to the Naga, which is the Cobra, symbol of the Kundalini power, cosmic energy, coiled and slumbering within man. Remember, this is the cosmic download. The cosmic download is the serpent once dwelling and correlating to the energy at the pineal gland, to that energy in which that came down, acting as as the medium between the energies internally, as below, as within, as to that which is without and above. All right. So, of course, we know that it inspires seekers to overcome misdeeds and suffer by lifting the serpent power up the spine into God realization. Om. 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 You go to the Old Testament, Numbers 21:9, and Moses made a serpent of bronze, of brass, and put it upon the pole, and it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he behold the serpent of brass, he lived. Then you have New Testament, John 3:14, and as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. All of this is symbolic to Kundalini that must be lifted up. And what lifted up is Shu, because Shu means to lift up, which is the breath. And it's no coincidence that you have strippers that work the pole. And here it's talking about the serpent upon the pole, and the woman has always been correlated to the serpent. Because it was her and the serpent that had sex or relations. All right. And of course, that is all symbolic because the serpent symbolizes sexual energy, which is the Kundalini. The origin of the rainbow chakras and the Kundalini serpent derived from the Yoruba Orisha system of the ancient Western or West Africa, which of course we know even goes further back into Egypt. It said it was later taken into Kemet, ancient Egypt, and became the Uraeus, and then transferred to the Manis of the ancient Egypt, India, who established yoga, which influenced Buddhism. Okay. So why is the serpent or snake so significant in the so-called Black spiritual systems within the more science information? Well, in Ifa, Yoruba scientific spirituality, the domestic snake is thus the symbol of the ability to control our instincts. This is Osameri, which is also symbolized in the Uraeus at the Kemetic pharaoh crown of the Kundalini serpent in India. This intended to use religion to enslave the mind so that it can focus only on the troll snake, all right, and claims all snake symbolism represents the devil, despite the presence of the positive snake in Kemet Uraeus. The widespread deification of domestic snakes symbolized in West Africa, such as Osameri. It says Greek skull has to be put human feel as a snake so that you don't have control, and thus that you would control it, right? And thus control you. So we know that the snake symbolizes the animal instincts that is the most primal yet difficult to control. In other words, sexual energy. Reptile is the most difficult animal to domesticate and simultaneously the most lethal. It is not a coincidence that the most basic part of our brain is the cortex, called the reptilian cortex or complex, part of our triune brain, and is the instinctual facility shared with reptiles. All right, here's the four symbols. Symbol 2 preceding. The serpent is called Hapu, right? Arupu, 4 serpent-headed deities holding forth a knife to slay the Apis. Right? The 4 mystic figures trading on a male serpent. The serpent's name is Hapti. So where do we see the science of these 4? Four serpents. Where do we get this science from? Well, the mysteries, teachings in which that Noble Ali and Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that why did Muhammad or any Muslim murder the devil? What is the duty of each Muslim in regard to the 4 devils? See, the 4 devils, 4 snakes. What reward does a Muslim receive for presenting the 4 devils at one time? Because he is 100% weak and will not keep and obey the law of Islam. Right? His ways, all right, but let's look at it. Of course, he is the 100% wicked and will not keep and obey the law of Islam. Peace. His ways and actions are like the snake of a drafted type. So Muhammad learned that he could not reform the devil, so they had to be murdered. And all Muslims will murder the devil, that he is the snake. And also that if he allowed to live, it would sting someone else. And each Muslim is required to bring 4 devils, you see? By bringing and presenting the 4 at one time, his reward is a button to wear on the lapel of his coat. We find that to be the lapel of the coat is talking about the physical body. All right, and by bringing and presenting 4 at one time, his reward is a button to wear on the lapel of his coat, and also a free transportation in the holy city to see Brother Muhammad. Now, of course, how can you see Brother Muhammad? All right, just think about that. Here's another example of the murdering of Apis, snake, in which that by destroying the snake, now you get access to the 2 lands, Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt. Lower Egypt is the white crown lotus. Upper so here you see the 2 lands. Of course, Samatawi, the union of the 2 lands, which symbolizes Heru and Set, is where the origin of the devil myth come from. God versus the devil, right? Egyptian god Horus or Heru versus the Egyptian god Set, Sut, right? The light, the dark, the day, the light, the night, the good, the evil, the God, the devil. Right, so Satan comes from Set. The opposite of Set and Heru are integrated into one as Set Heru. Right, that's what you see. Set Heru, unification of the higher and lower self. All right. So I'm gonna stop here for right now. I'm on back and get some more.